On March 14th, 1998, was the very first time any 16 seed had been one seed in men's or women's when the women's Harvard basketball team beat the number one Stanford in the biggest upset in women's college basketball March Madness. Here's the story behind this madness on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Before we get into the actual game, how did we get to this point? Well, let's first look at Stanford, the incoming power. They were being led by strong coach Tara Van Dever, who had been there for 13 years and had been in consecutive NCAA tournaments since 1987, reaching the Final Four in 1990 and winning their first championship that year. They had reached 5 other Final Fours between 1992 and had won 10 straight Pac-10 titles in their history. And the senior class that year had a record of 113 wins versus 13 losses leading up until this tournament game. But unfortunately, their 2 stars that year had gone down just before the first round of the tournament. Star Vanessa Vanguard tore her ACL, and Kristen Focal landed awkwardly on a practice and tore her ACL as well. And neither would play in this game. But that didn't mean Stanford didn't have a strong bench to help pick up the slack. But the problem was they ran into a Harvard team that was very underrated. They had made the NCAA Tournament for the 3rd straight year, being led by the nation's leading scorer in Allison Feaster, who was averaging over 28 points a game that year. And despite making the tournament for the previous 3 years, they were still given the 16th seed that they had been given previously, which made them angry and wanted a chance to make history. The game actually happened in Stanford, California, as at that time, the top seeds played their first rounds at home. There was over 5,000 people in attendance, and Stanford had won 59 straight games at home up to that point. Harvard quickly took the lead with a three-pointer, although Harvard would take control back quickly with a 22-9 streak, building a lead of 22-9 with 9 minutes left in the first half. Although Stanford would battle back to make the lead 42-34 at halftime, they never seemed to get any traction to get control back until Susie Miller sank a jumper that made the score 66-65. But Harvard wouldn't let this stand, and Allison Feaster finished off the game, leading them to a 71-67 victory, with Allison Feaster scoring 35 points and having 13 rebounds, finishing the game as the game's MVP on this historic victory as the first 16 seed in either men's or women's to beat a number 1 seed. It would be another 20 years before a men's team would do the same, when UMBC beat Virginia in 2018. But this is still the only 16 seed in women's basketball to beat a number 1 seed. But unfortunately, Harvard's Cinderella story would end with the loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks in the next round. And it wouldn't be till 2015 when another Ivy League school would win a tournament game. So what did it take for Harvard to win? Well, it took some luck with injuries. It also took them having a great star on their team, as Allison went on to be in the WNBA and play overseas as well, be an all-star while she played in the WNBA. It just goes to show you may never know who you're going up against at these small schools, who might be a legend in the making. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you enjoyed this, please rate and review wherever you're listening. I love to hear how you're doing and how you're enjoying the show because, honestly, it makes me feel good that you're enjoying the show. So rate and review wherever you're listening and come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.